Okay, so I'm sure if you clicked on this video, you don't need me to introduce Mongolian to you, but it would be weird if I just jumped into it. So I'll start by saying, Mongolian is a language spoken by around 5 million people, although this number is a bit disputed as the line between dialect and language is often blurred. It is primarily spoken in and around the country of Mongolia and in the northern regions of China, with the main dialects being Khatlakh in Mongolia and Tsakhar or Chakar, if I use a normal English accent to pronounce it. Not really sure, though it doesn't really matter because we'll be mainly talking about Khatlakh today because that is the only one I actually know shit about. Though I do hear most of this applies to a Chikar. Sorry, Chinese Mongols, I really don't know how to pronounce your name. Anyways, this is the phonology of Khatlakh Mongolian. Here are the consonants: ma, mya, na, nya, nga, ba, bya, da, gya, ga, gya, qa, ta, kya, za, ja, ca, cha, sa, sha, ha, hya, za, ya, ra, rya, wa, ya, ya. And here are the vowels:
E, u, o, e, u, a.
Now we could just leave it there with these two charts that I basically just ripped off Wikipedia. Gawk at how weird the consonant chart looks. Where's the Fortis? Pa-ka, kla. Why do the stops just become voiced halfway through? The fuck is up with that L? And call it a day. And to be fair, that is what I see a lot of people do. Hell, it's one of the things that originally made me interested in Mongolian. But yeah, let's take a look under the hood and ruin all your ideals of this being a language that just spits in the face of convention. We'll start with the stops and move our way rightwards and downwards. So, what is up with that puh? Or rather, lack of a puh. Yeah, I actually don't have an answer. There is some evidence to show that pre-Proto-Mongolic may have had a puh that then lenited to some kind of ha or sh, which then ultimately disappeared completely from the language, giving us Mongolian's modern-day long vowels and diphthongs, but we really don't know, and by the time Mongolia was being written down, there was no puh to speak of outside of loanwords. Okay, so that was probably not the best place to start. Anyways, what about those velars and ubulars? Pretty weird, huh? No Fortis stops, and they're both voiced for some reason. This is the aspect of Mongolian I feel gets misrepresented the most. Well, as you may be able to guess just from looking at the chart and based on what I told you before about Proto-Mongolic, the ha or ha of Proto-Mongolic has long since disappeared. So that ha must have come from somewhere else. And indeed, it did. It came from Proto-Mongolic's ka, which lenited in all cases to ha, leaving words like kke to now be pronounced hukh. So this is likely to leave you with another question then. What about kha? Why does modern Mongolian have a ga but no ha? Did Proto-Mongolic seriously develop a ga but no ka? Well, this is where we get to one of the most misleading parts of a chart like this one that I just copied off Wikipedia. Modern Mongolian does in fact have a ha. When you say words like Genghis Khan, in Mongolian, you actually say hang instead of khan. The ha is there, it's simply not phonemic. Neither, for the record, is ga, most of the time. Ga and ha in most occasions act as phonemes of ga and sha, with ga and sha appearing in words with tense vowels or when palatalized, while ga and ha appear in words with lax vowels, with this kind of allophony likely going all the way back to Proto-Mongolic. There is, however, one exception to this. In Proto-Mongolic, lenis consonants could appear in the coda position, while Fortis ones could not. Over time, in Khatlakh Mongolian, a change happened where the ga in the final position became ga, regardless of the vowel it followed. In the modern language, where many of the vowels of Proto-Mongolic have been lost, this means that ga and gla can now alternate in the coda position of words with lax vowels. In the initial position, however, they are still in completely complementary distribution, and as said before, original ka and ka, being Fortis, could never appear in the coda back in the day, and thus never had this distinction introduced to them. Therefore, their modern reflexes, ha and ha, still remain in complementary distribution and do not appear on the chart as separate phonemes. A similar situation, in fact, also happened with modern Mongolian's nasals. As for the final point of contention about Mongolian's velars versus ubulars, why are they voiced? Yeah, well, it turns out the reason for this isn't very interesting. Neither is the explanation for the lateral fricative. In Proto-Mongolic, both these sounds were likely pronounced as you would imagine, with ga and ga being devoiced, and zla being a regular old lateral approximant. But as time went on, regular sound shifts changed these sounds universally, making the uvulars and velars voiced and the L spirantized. And that is the story of why Mongolian sounds so weird. Or is it? Because it turns out the real weirdness with Mongolian lies not within its oddly distributed consonants, but rather lurking under the surface, somewhere you wouldn't expect. Vowels. And I don't mean these vowels. These ones is okay. I'm talking about the vowels like in the word for thanks. Tazarhaz. Now, if you've never studied Mongolian or don't speak it natively, you might not have caught that just from me saying it. Besides, I might have a terrible Mongolian accent for all I know, so let's pull up some phonemic transcription, see how to pronounce that, and oh my god, what the hell is that? Tuz, tuzrhz. See, here we start to see the real problem with just looking at Mongolian from a phonological level. In case you didn't notice, if you look really closely, you'll notice the near complete lack of vowels at the end of that word. And for the record, this is just the start. Maybe you and your friends feel quote unquote completely thankful for each other. You might want to say something like Tazarhaltchiksung, which is, oh god, Jesus Christ, makes Georgian look like child's play. Of course, to be real for a second, if you listen to me say both these words again, especially slowly, Tazarhaltchiksung, there's clearly vowels here, and indeed when written, these words are written with vowels. So what's going on here? Two words. Epenthetic vowels. Mongolian's replete with them. In fact, every non-initial short vowel from back in the day in Proto-Mongolic was deleted long ago, leaving long, unpronounceable, and nonsensical clusters that were then systematically broken up by epenthetic open vowels matched to the rounding and ATR harmony of the initial one. Tazarhaz has an A as its first vowel, so the corresponding open, unrounded back vowel is also an A. Hriklich has an E as its first vowel, so its corresponding middle, unrounded front vowel is an A. And it goes on and on. Of course, I could go into the exceptions, the long vowels, the former long vowels that act as short vowels now, palatalization, etc., 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 but I think that's good for now. If you would like to hear me talk more about any of that stuff, let me know below. But for now, that's why Mongolian's phonological table comes off as so weird. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or topics you want me to explain, and join me for next time where I'm thinking I'll go through Tibetan and some of the interesting things about it.